Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you see this. This your guy Ray coming to you live all the way from here. Where's here? Right here. Welcome to Ray's Corner Live. Hey, it's that time. I need a moment. I just need a moment. I just need a moment of your time. I just need a moment of your time. But before that, let me get the housekeeping out the way. Subscribe, hit the notification button on YouTube, Facebook, subscribe, notification, like, share, all those good things. Now we got the housekeeping out the way. A man of purpose and power. Brothers, you are men of purpose and power. You are men of purpose and power. Listen, so I was looking at this show this morning, like 4 in the morning, right? And I was watching these brothers, and they were talking about masculinity, and they were talking about some of the solutions and some of the problems and some of the all that good stuff. Man, it was really, 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 really powerful. Really, really powerful. And they were in like their 40s. And I got to thinking, and I was listening to them. I was listening to some of the things they were saying, how the previous generation, the men are getting weaker now, right? But it's the fault of the previous generation, meaning I'm 65. So basically what they were saying, it was got people in our era was the problem with why men are getting weaker. And that could be the case. I mean, I can't say it is or not because I know in the era we was growing up in, things were like really, really crazy. There were things happening as men. The government was doing things to devalue the man and to push, and we're talking in the African American community, to devalue the black man and to push the black women up and feminism and all these different things was going on that was coming against the man at the time. Um, a lot of uh one household families, uh, no excuses. Things was happening, drugs, crack, all those things was like just bombarding men at the time. Me personally, 20 years strung out on crack, homeless 3 years, not being there for my kids at those times. Yeah, yeah, those things was happening. Those things was real. They were really real, but men weren't weak. There was something even in the midst of my drug addiction. Uh, I can remember a night, and after spending all my money and looking around, and you know, depression and all that stuff, anxiety. The enemy was hitting me with thoughts and all these things, and a moment of clarity came, and I looked around and said, "I'm better than this." All those struggles, all those times I tried to get clean and I would fall, get 90 days clean, fall, 6 months clean, fall. But the reality was the fact that I kept getting up wanting to stay clean showed the fact that I wanted to be clean. I wanted to be a better dad. I wanted to be a better husband. I wanted to be better at those things that I was falling short was, and I just wasn't going to give up. August 6th, I have 28 years cleaned. I have 20 years saved, born again because I never gave up. I didn't subscribe to the lies of society. I didn't subscribe to the lies of Satan that he was telling me about myself. I started replacing the lies with truth that God was showing me about myself, about the purpose and plan for my life. When you look at that title, Coming Out of Total Darkness, that's me. It could be some of us. Total darkness in my mind. They could not see the light of God nowhere, right? But I'm here to tell you, you're men of purpose and power. These young brothers was talking some good stuff. One brother was talking about solutions that the women need to get themselves together, and the other brother was talking about men need to get themselves together, and the other brother said it's on both sides, and it is on both sides. But I want to talk to my men right now, and women, listen, listen, and there's no excuses, but the reality is there is an identity crisis amongst men right now. There's totally an identity crisis amongst men right now. We don't have a clue, like like most young men. This is nothing negative, right? And I'm gonna break it down. Why, right? Because we have all these. When I was growing up in the years before that, men had a role, right? Get the job, get the wife, pay the bills, get the home, come home from work, eat, have sex with your wife, go to sleep. So we define all these roles based on society. So the society roles have been changing now, because you would get your girlfriend, you would get married, you would purchase the house and the car and all that stuff. But the reality now is, because we're basing this, and I'm gonna tell you about masculinity, that we really don't want to continue to use the term masculinity, but I'll tell you that in a minute. But the roles that society has we have brought into what a man is supposed to be, what a masculine man is supposed to be, those things don't really apply, because you can get the girl now, but she already got the car, she already got the house, she already got her own money. So that destroys that role, and cause confusion in the young men of the day. Not understanding that God has a purpose for your life, right? If you walk in your purpose, you'll know your role. See, right now, men are questioning who they are and what role do they play in life. The question, who are you, right? You got young men, uh, and this is not no knock on women. I'm just giving you some scenarios, brothers. We got to step up. But the reality, you got some young men that's listening to their mothers saying, "Man, I don't need no man. A man ain't no good." Blah 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 blah. Now watch this. I'm a young man. I'm listening to this over and over. If my mom don't need a man, who gonna need me? Because it's obvious women don't need men. And I'm hearing that. Then this young man is hearing this over and over. And, sometimes, it can lead to other things. If a woman don't want me, then is it causing me to lean towards men that might want me, that might make me feel better? See, on the surface, right, we may be following customary life pursuits, what's common in life pursuits, right? Meaning, such as working, getting married, and having a family. But inwardly, we are not sure what it means to be a man. Inwardly, we're not sure what it means to be a husband. Inwardly, we're not sure what it means to be a father. And there's this uncertainty now with the younger men. Because like I said, there are no, like, these traditional roles that men are supposed to have. They're no longer there. The line has been blurred. See, so something is causing this uncertainty, right? Something is causing this uncertainty. See, because society is sending out conflicting signals about what it means to be a man. See, as long as we're looking at the world system, we're looking at society, see, the true traditional views of masculinity, it's not applying. See, because there's these new ideas about what manhood is in the marketplace, and the ideas of men are different now. And the old traditional way of a man should be, and the new way that the man should be, that it's like this inner fight. One is fighting for supremacy over the mind of us, of our young men, of men in general, right? And I say young men, I'm 65, that's young. I'm still young compared to people who are 70 and 80. But I'm, like I said, I'm listening to this conversation with guys that were in their 40s, and I realized, man, I'm still 20-something years older than them, 19, between 15 and 20 years older than them. And I started understanding my responsibility, right? I have a responsibility. Me and my daughters were talking about eras, right? I was back in the era of 60s, 70s, but watch this. I was also in the era of the 80s. I was also in the eras of the 90s and the 2000s and the 2010s and now the 2020s. I am involved in each era, and I'm watching the evolution of what men are now thinking a man should be based on information that we just don't have. See, because historically we have been defined. Our manhood has been defined by the roles, by societal roles. See, now these roles are being we're transitioning into some new type of man, supposed to be. So do you, we don't have a solid definition of masculinity. We don't have a solid foundation of masculinity that gives a cultural context for life, how I'm supposed to live my life, because we're basing it on the world system and what masculinity. Listen, stop being masculine and just live. Your purpose and plan is based, listen, your role and who you are is based on your purpose. If you don't have if you're not understanding what is your purpose, why have you been created, right? Everybody is going to shape and mold you based on the world system, based on who they think you should be as a man. Well, you're probably saying, Ray, well, what's your purpose? Well, I went through 20 years of drug and alcohol. It's homelessness and all those things. Wound up on the second floor fire escape with a 357, get ready to blow my brains out. Jesus Christ came and saved me. And on that fire escape, he said, after you're converted, go back and strengthen your brothers. So I understand the trauma that I went through. All that trauma that I went through for those 20 years was my training grounds to be able to do this, to what? Go back and deal with men who were just like me. I'm under no illusion why I was created. I know what my role in society is, and it allows me to have my role in my family, with my wife, with my kids. I understand my role. See, because we don't understand our purpose and we're basing our roles based on what society says, a lot of men a lot of men believe they have lost their self. They lost who they are. They don't even feel wanted. They don't even feel needed. They don't believe women even need them, because you always hear women say, I could do this all by myself. I don't need your money. I got my own money. I got my own house. I got my own car. See, we used to have a clear direction. Go to work, come home, eat, have sex, go back, get a lady the money, go to work, same routine. So now it's trapped, as men feel like they're trapped in this maze. They're feeling frustrated, unable to move forward because they don't understand their purpose in life. See, we men look, I went for 20 years, let's say 30 years, going out realizing that I had a purpose and God had a purpose and plan for my life. I went for years not realizing I wasn't fulfilling that purpose and plan, the true purpose of my life. I always had the good jobs and stuff like that, but I'm talking about the true purpose. See, I got comfortable with what I thought was masculinity, what I thought a man needed to do. And when I couldn't live up to those things, the enemy shot things in me, and that drugs kept me from reality. Then I had to start like really looking at who I was through the eyes of God. See, this society now is turbulent. Everything is going on. So we have to start examining the underlying foundation of our life, which is Jesus Christ. So when we start, I had to take time. I went to this discipleship program in Goldsboro, North Carolina, which allowed me to start taking time for self-discovery, who I was in Christ, to have self-actualization, who I really was. I started to look inwardly, and I was able to touch into the purpose and plan that God has in my life. And it started changing. I no longer I no longer felt bad about the role society said I was supposed to be as a man, because I started fulfilling my purpose, what God had wanted me to do. I started the discipleship. I went through a discipleship program. I started the discipleship program. I started speaking at prisons. I started dealing with guys who were homeless, who were in prison, who were coming off of drugs and who had drug addiction and all that stuff. I was then starting to deal. I was living the life God prepared me to live. Through the trauma, through the tragedy, through the depression, through the anxiety, through the homelessness, all those things were things I had to go through every feeling. So when men come in front of me now, I know exactly how they feel. So we have to, let's start this. Yeah. I understand when we say what we talk about masculinity, but that is also a world system. Your purpose will define who you are. Your purpose will define your roles. Your purpose will allow you to be who you are. When you use the Bible, that gives you the instructions of how a godly man should be acting, how he should be talking. We should be living epistles to be read by all men, that our lifestyle. I don't need to say a Bible verse. I don't need to have a Bible, but if you watch my life long enough, I'm an example. You should see Christ in my life, based on the purpose and plan that I had for my life. I started removing the lies that Satan was telling me about myself, that I would never stop using drugs, that I would never be a good father, that I would never be a good husband, that I would never be able to hold a job, that I would never, 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 never. And then I realized when I started seeing the basic instruction, it said that the Satan was a liar and the truth was not in him. When I started recognizing the lies, I don't have to fight the lies. I don't have to fight what Satan is saying. I can remove them. And if I don't remove them, I can embrace them, because it's all a lie about myself. And when I say embrace them, meaning he said I would never stop getting high. Well, I embrace that lie because now I don't get high. But what we want to do is we want to remove the lies and replace them with truth. You can't defeat what you can't define. We need to start defining certain things about ourselves that is not Christ-like. Don't give up, look up. Understanding that either you're going to start controlling your feelings or your feelings are going to keep controlling you. So these are the things that we really, really need to start asking ourselves. Here's a couple of questions, and I'm gonna get out of here. How do we measure a man? How do you measure yourself as a man? What is true manhood? And how do you define masculinity? And what is true male sexuality? We're going to start embarking on these things, man. Right? We need to come out of darkness, come out of total darkness and into his light. What is the true purpose of the male in relationship to female? Is there a universal definition of manhood? And can that be attained? And where do we go to get this definition? God has all the answers. And we'll find all that in our purpose. We'll find all that in the plan. We'll find all that as we're taking this journey in the life that Christ has for us. There is a void on the earth that we must fill. So stop trying to fill a role that society says you're supposed to fill as a man, and see the role that Christ wants you to use based on your purpose. Stop trying to walk in a masculine state of mind that the world system says you have, and just start walking in life. Remove all the lies and replace them with truth. Take away all the pressure and all the sayings and all that stuff that the world system said we're supposed to be. And let's be who God says we're supposed to be. Hey, this is your guy Ray, coming to you live all the way from here, where it's here, right here. Like we always say here on Ray's Corner Live, God loves you and I love you. And guess what? Ain't nothing you can do about it. Peace out. Holla.